That should take us now into the Google side, which is the destination. Once again, we'll say new for the endpoint. We'll call this one Google. And the endpoint type, and it has to be the G Suite Gmail API. That's an important one to choose. Now here, I am going to grab that JSON file that we downloaded earlier, which is that one there. After selecting that, and then it needs to know the super admin username, which we'll just type in, which is obviously just my admin account that I use on that G Suite tenant. So now we hit add, and you can see those details are all set, and we'll hit save and go to summary. Now here, if we hit save project, it will take us into this screen where we get to add the items to our project. Very normal screen. And in this case, we're just going to do a quick add and we'll grab them. We're not going to do an auto discover. We don't want to grab everybody. This is a smaller migration. It's just going to be for Bob. So we'll grab the source and destination here. So I've got Bob Jones at Cozy Mouse going into Bob at Rock Smashers, and it is an active account. We'll hit save item and close. That'll take us right here. Now I've got a choice on the licensing. If I do have user migration bundle licenses, which is the one where we can have mailboxes plus all their data, like their OneDrive or their G Suite data. In this case, I may want to later on move his OneDrive into Google. So I'm going to be assigning that user migration bundle so I can use that license in another project later on if I need to. So how we do that, we just go into, just tag him, and you can see this little drop down here. Apply migration license. It'll see how many we have. Apply there, good. And that'll take a minute or so to do that. So I'm going to wait, let it refresh, so that will then appear here as a yes item. And just while that is just coming through, I just want to show you as well. Notice that my icons here don't have any words next to them. I do have that screen magnified to, I think, 110%. It's had some other views going on. Just notice that. So let me just drop it down to 100 there. There we go. Now you can actually see a little bit more of what's in there. It'll be a bit easier to read. Just to bear in mind that I've left this in here because it's sometimes if you see just the icons and nothing written here, it's because your zoom or your screen size isn't quite big enough. So yeah, zooming out a little bit will give us that. So now we can see these icons a bit better. Refresh. Still waiting on that user migration bundle. So just give that a minute or so more. Okay, and look, there we go. We got that in there. So what we'll do first is we're just going to do a verify credentials. Now what that will do, if we hit start there, hit verify, that will check the source endpoint and the target endpoint just to make sure we have everything configured correctly and it can access both of them and that it knows it can transmit the data. So we're just going to do that, let it submit, and just hit the refresh a few times. But what we'll do is we'll come back to that in a few minutes time and see what the status of that looks like. Okay, look, coming back to that, about 10 minutes later, you can see completed verification. So we are good to go. It's always nice to see those little completed signs come up. So what we'll do, first of all, I want to talk about Prestage versus a full migration. So you can see here, I've got a few options here. A trial is just that the test can actually access things, very similar to the verify credentials. I normally jump straight into a Prestage or a full migration there, but a Prestage, what it does is it means you can migrate everything up to a certain point, and you could say, I want to migrate everything up to the last 30 days. It's a way of saying if a user had a massive mailbox, let's say they've got a 40, 50 gig mailbox, you want to cut it over on, say, a Friday night, you're not going to do a full migration on Friday night. It's too much data to do in one hit to make that work effectively. So what you do is in the week or so before you do a pre-stage migration, get all that data over so that there is all of that mail content that mostly is 40 gig up to that last 30 days. And then in the full migration, it will just do the delta of what it's done. If you go straight to a full migration, it will do everything. But obviously these migration tools, they don't migrate everything again. If you do multiple pre-stages or multiple full migrations, once it's migrated one particular email, it knows it's migrated. It doesn't need to do it again. So it's a really good idea. Do your pre-stage first if you've got lots of mail data, or you can just kick off a full migration. In this stage, what I'm going to do a pre-stage migration. I'm going to show you about how it does it. I want to see those last 30 days of mail not appear in the mailbox, and I want to see the catch up when we do the full migration. So let's suppose we're about a week out from this one and we hit pre-stage. Now, bearing in mind that this doesn't affect the source mailbox at all. They can continue to use it and they'll be completely fine doing that. So this is quite a a seamless task to do. They won't even notice it's happening. So what we do here is we'll say mail from 30 days ago. You can specify a time if you want. I mean, if you could put in 2 days ago if you wanted. But normally what I would choose is a 30-day ago item, and you can see it's just doing mail. Now remember that Prestage will not do contacts, calendars, and all of that because they're pretty small. They can just do those in the full migration anyway. So really we just choose mail and we'll choose 30 days and we'll hit start migration. And that will hit there. You can see that's submitted. So we can go monitor that target inbox and see what that is looking like. But we should see mail turn up relatively soon inside Bob's Gmail account. That's good. After a refresh, we can see it's completed its Prestage. It's migrated, you can see, about 116 meg of data. Now, if we have a look at his mailbox, you'll see, looking at that, it's done everything from January 5 backwards. If I scroll down here, you can see there's all the mail, which is great. There's lots of junk mail. This is a test account. We signed up for some junk mail, so there's a lot of it. But that's really the effect we wanted. I want to see the data come in up to here, today being February 4. So what we'll do is we'll just drop that back down there. And let's suppose we've now hit that Friday night or whatever we choose to do our cutover, and we're going to kick off the full migration now. So it's going to pick up the delta of what we have and do the last part of the migration. So we'll hit here and we'll say full migration. Now at this point, what I would probably do is discuss around what we're doing with the cutover for the domains. Now, it looks like we've gone to Rocksmashers. He has migrated into the rocksmashers.com. So that's going to be his email address going forward. What I would suggest you do at this point is place a forwarder on the cozymouse.com account so that it forwards into the Rocksmashers, depending on the situation you're in, obviously. But that way, when we pick up this migration and it moves everything across, anything new that hits the Cozy Mouse account after we've obviously done the full migration, he's not going to get. So therefore, having a forwarder in place pointing from one to the other is definitely a good thing to have. So let's now hit full migration. And we'll see here, we can now do contacts, calendars, and the mail as well. We could put a time for it to start automatically if we wanted. If I wanted to say kick it off at like 8 p.m. tonight or something, I could certainly do that. In this case, I'm not going to put a time in there. I'm just going to hit start migration. And you can see that will go into that submitted stage again. So let's come back soon and see what it looks like once that has run through. While that's going through, let me show you a couple of quick things here about that forwarding, just to go into that in a little bit more detail. If I am connected to that Exchange Online backend, there's a couple of ways we can do this. If we're doing it with a lot of users, you could have some commands set up inside PowerShell. You can use like an Excel sheet to like create these for you. But what I'm going to do here is just show you that if we do set mailbox and we look at the user, which will be Bob Jones at, let's say, cozymouse.com, you can actually put in here forwarding SMTP address like so, and we'll put in Bob at smashers.com. Now let's just run just that command, and that will just come back with nothing, which is good. That means it has applied it. That's a nice, quick and easy way to get that forwarding set up for Bob. Now, if we look back in the console at him, if we come in here, look at Bob Jones, and look at the Mail tab, you can see that he has email forwarding applied. If we go and manage that, you can see there's the account we put in before. Now, we could say keep a copy of the forward email in the mailbox as well if you wanted to, depends on your situation. That is a tag you can place. If I just jump back into that PowerShell command, I can show you what that is. And that one is in here. If we say deliver, see, deliver to mailbox and forward, and we put true on that one. If we run that one, it would set that tag so that it would deliver to both mailboxes. I mean, migration-wise, normally we probably wouldn't, but it's a nice option to know that is available if you want it. And I'll just do a very quick email to him, as you can see there. That should show up in his mailbox. And that will come in as a forward email. That's obviously going to hit the M365 infrastructure and forward into Google. And there it goes, test for forwarder. Excellent. So we know that's in place and that's working. So I can do that. I can pull that one out. We don't need that to be there, but it's a good test to do. So we're just waiting now for the rest of that data to come in from and we can check it on the console and see how far it's got. But yeah, we'll come back to it once it's done. And a refresh here shows that it's now completed. and everything is done. Let's go ahead and have a look at Bob's mailbox on the G Suite side, see what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like we've got, current mail going down, as you can see, from today, February 2nd, going backwards. And also what it's done, notice down here as well, it's converted what we had as our folders into labels. So you can see in any folder that we had, like see Fox News there, and I just put some filters in to sort of create these out like this. But you can see what it's done. It's created labels for the folders that existed inside M365. We'll jump back up to here. We'll see all of that as well. So really that gives us a complete migration of that mailbox into Google. I certainly hope that helps you on your migration journey from 365 into Google. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate it when you do. It's Mark here, the Cloud Geezer, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you very much.